GPT Generative Pre-trained Transformer, think of GPT, as that friend who's read every book in the library and can chat about anything. It's trained on massive amounts of text from the internet, so it knows a little about everything. GPT predicts what word should come next in a sentence, kind of like your phone's autocorrect, but way smarter. The funny thing is, it doesn't actually understand what it's saying. It's just really good at pattern matching. It's like having a parrot that's memorized Wikipedia and can remix it into conversations. When you ask GPT a question, it's not thinking like you do, it's just predicting the most likely response based on patterns it learned from billions of web pages. Yet somehow, this simple approach creates responses that seem incredibly intelligent. BERT bidirectional encoder representations from transformers, while GPT reads text from left to right. Like you're reading this sentence, BERT is like that student who reads the entire test before answering any questions. It looks at words from both directions simultaneously, understanding context better. If GPT is having a conversation, BERT is analyzing a completed essay. It's particularly good at understanding what you mean when you search for something on Google. BERT basically revolutionized search engines by teaching computers that bank could mean a financial institution, or the side of a river, depending on context. Before BERT, search engines were like literal-minded robots. After BERT, they became more like helpful librarians who actually understand what you're looking for, even when you phrase it awkwardly. DALL-E Deep Learning plus WALL-E DALL-E is what happens when you teach an AI to paint using words. Tell it a cat wearing a tuxedo, riding a unicycle, and it'll create that image from scratch. It understands concepts so well that it can combine ideas that have never existed together. DALL-E doesn't just copy existing images, it genuinely creates new ones based on your description. It's like having an artist friend who never says, "I can't draw that," and has infinite imagination plus zero ego about weird requests. The weird part is that DALL-E has never actually seen the world. It only knows images as pixels and descriptions as text. Yet it can create pictures of things that don't exist with surprising accuracy. Roombot can paint perfect landscapes just from reading about them. Claude Constitutional AI Claude is like having a really helpful assistant who's been trained not just to be smart, but to be ethical too. While other AI models learn patterns from data, Claude has an additional layer of training focused on being helpful, harmless, and honest. It's designed to refuse harmful requests and think through ethical implications. Think of it as the AI equivalent of having a moral compass built in. Claude won't help you write a fake news article, but it'll gladly help you understand complex topics or write creative stories. What makes Claude different is that it was taught to critique its own responses and revise them based on ethical principles. It's like having an AI that comes with its own internal ethics teacher, constantly asking, is this response actually helpful and truthful? Stable Diffusion, the rebel artist of AI image generation. Stable Diffusion is completely open source, meaning anyone can download and modify it. Unlike DALL-E, which you access through a company's website, Stable Diffusion can run on your own computer. It creates images by starting with random noise and gradually denoising it into your requested picture. Think of it like a sculptor who starts with a block of static and slowly chips away until your image emerges. The process looks like magic. Pure visual chaos, slowly organizing itself into exactly what you described. Stable Diffusion, AI art creation, which is fancy talk for now anyone with a decent computer can generate professional-looking artwork without knowing how to draw a stick figure. GPT-4V Vision. GPT-4V is like giving eyes to a language model. It can look at images and describe what it sees, answer questions about photos, or even help you solve visual puzzles. Show it a meme, and it can explain why it's funny. Give it a screenshot of code, and it can debug it. It bridges the gap between text and visual understanding. It's like having a friend who can not only chat with you, but also look at what you're looking at and discuss it intelligently. The strange thing is that GPT-4V processes images as tokens, just like text, turning pixels into language that it can understand. It's essentially translating the visual world into words, then using its language skills to talk about what it sees. So when it looks at a photo of a sunset, it's not experiencing beauty, it's recognizing patterns that correspond to sunset in its training data. Whisper Automatic Speech Recognition, OpenAI's Whisper, is the universal translator for speech. It can take audio in almost any language and convert it to text with impressive accuracy. What makes Whisper special is that it was trained on diverse audio data, so it can handle different accents, background noise, and even multiple speakers. It's like having superhearing that can also write down everything it hears. Whisper has made voice-to-text technology accessible to everyone, not just big tech companies. Before Whisper, most speech recognition systems were trained on clean, clear audio recordings. Whisper learned from the messy reality of real-world audio people with thick accents, background music, phone calls with terrible connection. It's like the difference between learning to drive in an empty parking lot versus learning on busy city streets during rush hour. Codex Code Generation Codex is GPT's programmer cousin. It understands both human language and programming languages, so you can describe what you want in plain English, and it'll write the code for you. Tell it, create a function that sorts a list of names alphabetically, and it'll produce working code in your preferred programming language. Codex powers GitHub Copilot, essentially giving every programmer an AI pair programming partner. It's like having a coding buddy who never gets tired and knows every programming language. The funny thing about Codex is that it learned to code the same way it learned to write, by reading millions of examples and recognizing patterns. It doesn't actually understand what the code does in the way a human programmer would, but it's so good at pattern matching that it can write functional programs just by predicting what code should come next. Llama Large Language Model. Meta's answer to the AI race, Llama is like the open source hero of language models. While companies like OpenAI keep their models locked up, Meta released Llama for researchers to tinker with. It's smaller and more efficient than GPT, but still powerful enough to have meaningful conversations. Llama proved you don't need massive computing power to create impressive AI. It's like showing that a compact car can still win races if it's designed well enough. What made Llama controversial is that despite being intended for researchers, it quickly leaked online and people started using it to build their own AI applications. Meta basically wanted to give researchers a Ferrari to study, but ended up accidentally giving everyone free cars. The result was an explosion of open-source AI projects that probably wouldn't have existed otherwise. T5 Text-to-Text Transfer Transformer. T5 treats every problem as a text problem, need translation. Input English text, output Spanish text, want summarization, input long article, output short summary. It's like having a universal adapter for language tasks. The genius of T5 is its simplicity. Instead of building different models for different tasks, it frames everything as text goes in, different text comes out. It's the Marie Kondo of AI models, simplifying everything into one neat approach. T5's approach is so elegantly simple, it's almost boring. Take any language task, turn it into a text-to-text problem, and use the same model architecture for everything. Want to answer questions? Input question: what is the capital of France? And output Paris. Want to translate? Input translate English to Spanish, hello, and output hola. It's like having one tool that can be a hammer, screwdriver, and wrench depending on how you use it. Like, subscribe, or leave a comment, or all three. Either way, thanks for watching.